This Flames prospect update is insane. There's no one denying that the Calgary Flames' pipeline is looking stacked after a couple of incredible drafts over the past few years. Certain Flames prospects are still playing meaningful hockey, some are getting individual accolades, and others are moving on to higher levels of hockey to refine their skills. The future is looking bright in Calgary. We're going to get into all that and more in this video, but first I want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And let's hop straight in. And the first man we're going to be talking about is Matvei Gridin, or Gridin, as I've been informed is how you pronounce it. So we'll say Gridin from now on. But yes, there's so many amazing prospects in the pipeline for the Flames, and Matvei Gridin deserves every single thing we're about to say about him. He was our second of two first-rounders in last year's draft, and he is showing why he deserved to go in that first round after many people were skeptical at the pick. So if we hop in here, Flames prospect Matvei Gridin named finalist for QMJHL's Offensive Rookie of the Year award. This is kind of like an NFL award, I guess, with the OROW here, but it's very cool, maybe not, they divide it of not rookie of the year, but offensive and defensive, of course. So getting that nomination already is fantastic. Now, how did we get here? Well, one of the Calgary Flames top prospects has been named a finalist for a major award. This is, of course, written by Ryan Pike of Flames Nation. On Thursday, the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League, QMJHL, if you didn't know that's what it stood for, announced several finalists for their league awards. Among the players announced as up for awards was Shawinigan Cataracts forward Matvei Gridin, a Flames first-round selection in 2024. I believe we used a Vancouver's pick for that one. One of the three contenders for the QMJHL's Michel Bergeron Trophy as the league's top offensive rookie. The other two finalists are Sherbrooke Phoenix forward Thomas Rousseau and Rouyn-Noranda Huskies forward Ben Steiner. So those are your three guys up for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it's so great to see that, the Flames really have drafted great in Conroy's tenure as general manager. They've had a great few drafts over the past few years now after there were many questionable ones for a long time. It seemed between, Feaster, some of the tree living ones as well were interesting. Some of them were great. Obviously, there were home run picks. A lot of the time you think of Johnny Gaudreau, you think of Sean Monahan, Tkachuk, and others. There were some not so great ones or ones that weren't great with the Flames. You think of Bennett. But either way, it's great to know that the future's looking bright as we've had some great drafts lately, and Matvei Gridin has just looked amazing with Shawinigan lately in those beautiful uniforms. Here's what the league's press release noted about Gridin's season. So in his 18-year-old season, Gridin led QMJHL rookies in virtually every offensive stat, including points with 79, goals with 36, and assists with 43, plus minus at plus 31, shots at 236, game-winning goals with 5, power play assists with 15, and short-handed goals with 4. That is a lot of stats to be the leading rookie in. He finished tied for first in Shawinigan team scoring with Felix Lasserre, who played 6 more games than him, and 12th overall in the Q. A first-round pick of the Flames in 2024, Gridin was drafted first overall in the 2024 CHL import draft by the Val d'Or Foreur before being traded to Shawinigan. So he's kind of been all over the map lately. It was also rumored he was going to be in the NCAA, but he has done just fine in the Q, and we are just fine with that. A huge congratulations to him. I think he's honestly the front runner to also win the award, so hopefully I'll have an update soon. I think they do it around the NHL draft time, a little bit before they'll announce the actual winners, so very interesting to see if he wins that. But either way, a great season from him, and we're so glad to have him in the pipeline. He's been compared to Sharangovich, which I know after last year isn't the best comparison, but he's really, really good, and hopefully he develops into the player we do need him to be down the line. Next, man, let's talk about Basha, because it has honestly been a long time since we have talked about Andrew Basha. Now, the reason for this is because he's been injured pretty much the whole season. But another one from Ryan Pike here. He cares about the prospects. So Flames prospect Andrew Basha could return from injury for the WHL Championship Series. Now, the Medicine Hat Tigers have been absolutely insane, and they obviously have Gavin McKenna, who's one of the best prospects we've ever seen in the WHL for sure. He's easily going to go first overall, not in this draft, but the next one. But Medicine Hat has been winning nonstop without the likes of Basha and also Caden Lindstrom, who was a guy the Flames were looking at last year before he got scooped up by the Columbus Blue Jackets ahead of them in the draft. But this is huge news that Basha could still play meaningful hockey down the line as he obviously tries to progress. This won't be his final season in junior, or at least before he makes it all the way up to the NHL for sure. Maybe the A. I don't think the A is in the question for next year, but it'd be great if he could play some meaningful hockey this season since he has missed a lot. But let's dive in. So Basha last played for Medicine Hat back on December 28th, which is pretty crazy. So all the way back in 2024, if you think about it that way. Lindstrom played during the 2024 WHL playoffs. That's how long it's been for him. Essentially, the article started by saying both these guys have been hurt for a long time. Over at Post Media, our pal Danny Austin profiled Basha this week as he nears his possible return, noting that Basha had been playing through an ankle injury for a while and that surgery was eventually decided as the best option. That is obviously why he has been out. Here's a quote from him. I got hurt last year, actually, and just continued playing on it for a full year, pretty much playing at 60% type of thing, Basha explained. That was kind of a mental battle, and earlier this year, it just started creeping up on me more than I could handle, and I learned a lot about myself. If I had waited and gotten the surgery after playoffs, I kind of would have been screwed for next year. I've gotten substantially stronger a lot quicker, so I've kind of turned it into a bit of a blessing in physical form, and hopefully I can use that well. That is fantastic to hear. Sometimes these injuries can really derail a player's career fast, especially at the junior level. So to hear that he made the tough decision to get surgery but has rehabbed well, it's just phenomenal news, and it sounds like he will be back and better than ever for next year, if not for the WHL Championship Series, which is amazing. Obviously, he wants to play in that, and then, of course, play in the Memorial Cup if Medicine Hat makes it, but I believe they are quite the heavy favorites at this point. One last thing from this. We may not have seen Basha at his full potential, and it's pretty impressive he had the season he had in 2023-24 given the circumstances. Head over to Post Media's site to read the whole piece, which is excellent and worth your time. I 100% agree. You can backtrack all the way to that one. Basha is a 2005 born player on an entry-level contract. He's old enough to be able to play in the American League with the Wranglers in the fall. So he could, but I don't think he will. That's just me being honest. This could be his last hurrah in major junior hockey before he goes pro, and for a player that's come up through the Western League, there could be no more fun way to close out his junior career than a WHL championship victory. Absolutely, Ryan Pike wrote it well there. So there is the chance he could play for the Wranglers, and I don't know why I'm saying no. I just feel like after this season, he might want more time down in the juniors to develop, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see, of course, but it's great to hear great news about Gridin and about Basha, and I actually have a little bit more as let's talk about the rest of them now. The first guy that all of us really care about the most is, of course, Zane Parekh, who was recently playing with Team Canada in their exhibition games for the IIHF World Championships. Now, Brian Pike, again, has a little update. He said, I recall that Zane Parekh's status was a topic of conversation on Flamestock this week, and so Parekh not making the national team shouldn't be overly surprising. He was good in pre-tournament games, but Canada already has 7 veteran defensemen, 4 of them being righties. It's a numbers game, and it truly is. He's definitely probably good enough to be on this team, but it's just kind of the politics involved with how these things work. You do give it to the vets, the guys who either didn't make the playoffs or crashed out of the playoffs early, so that kind of thing. But he's definitely good enough, but unfortunately won't be playing any games for Canada unless there's obviously quite a few injuries, which we don't want, but I mean, it wouldn't be the most welcome oopsie of all time. But there's one on Mr. Parekh there. The next one we have is this. So a note for Flames fans, Axel Hurtig from the Calgary Hitmen and Matt Gridin, who we talked about earlier from Shawinigan in the queue, are both CHL imports eligible to return to their junior teams next season. So if that's what they decide to do for their development, which what I honestly would assume both would be doing, they're totally fine and able to do that, which is great to hear, where they won't have to move around, scramble to try and find college hockey or, you know, another maybe lesser version of a pro league. It's just great to hear that they should be comfortable and will still be able to develop, which is phenomenal news. And the last one here is that Rimouski, the Memorial Cup host, beat Shawinigan in double overtime. So unfortunately, that means Gridin's out to advance to the QMJHL Championship Series. Moncton, their final series opponent, automatically gets QMJHL spot in the Memorial Cup. So Moncton is interesting for the Flames because Moncton has Etienne Morin, who a lot of people will have their eyes on as well. So automatically, he's already in the Memorial Cup. We could have Basha in there as well, which is phenomenal news. So it might honestly have a lot of implications for Flames as well, not only at the Worlds, but also in the Memorial Cup and some of these championship series, as some Flames prospects are still playing meaningful hockey, which is so valuable in the development of a player's junior career, which is fantastic to see. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do here on the channel. It comes from yesterday's video, of course, and there are a lot of interesting comments, I gotta be honest, but this was a good one here from Terry. Terry said, I would sign Hanley and Vladar to 2 years by $2 million each, sign Kirkland, probably to the league minimum, I would assume, and trade Andersson with an ad for the 9th overall or better, and take a center. If there is no trade there, keep him until the deadline. Totally makes sense to trade Andersson for a top 10 pick for sure and draft a center. If it doesn't happen, of course, keep him until the deadline if he remains unsigned. And those are some decently expensive contracts for Vladar and Hanley, but they kind of make sense, and we don't have to worry about the cap too much for the next couple of years, so it definitely makes sense and would be valuable to have them around. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to what you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.